It's brutal. Yeah, it's just a bully being a big bully and trying to get what he wants, and I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to backfire on him, but it's going to be really tough maybe for a little while here.
Screw him. Yeah, we didn't do nothing to them. We've always been nice to them. I don't know why he's trying to mess with us.
It is what it is. You can't do anything about it, so why stress about it if you can't do anything about it?
All the prices of everything's going to go up, and it's not good for both countries. The tariffs are one of the worst things you could possibly do. I think a recession is bound to happen because of that.
The rationale for it doesn't make any sense. But then much of what he says is in the same vein.
I mean, he is a good president. Oh! He does some good things, but with the tariffs and everything that he's doing on Canada and all these other countries, it doesn't make sense. Why should we have to pay extra because he wants to make money, right?
Would it affect your travel plans or what you buy at the grocery store in terms of American products?
We do look for the Canadian product now much more than we did before.
In every way I shop, I won't be buying anything from the U.S. If possible, I will not. I'll just buy Canadian only.
And we travel in Canada. All of our holidays lately have been across Canada. If we do go and travel, we fly over the States into Mexico.
So I had some plans to possibly travel into the States this year, and I've been reconsidering that and waiting and seeing how this all plays out before we make any bookings.
What do you think Canada should do in retaliation?
The same thing that he's doing to us. Put a tariff on our stuff going to there. It's only fair, I think. No? Tit for tat, right?
Hit them back, yeah.
Imposing tariffs on the States, yeah.
We should be putting our tariffs on the energy that we send to them because they are fully reliant on the resources that we send them. So
I think some of the things that are planned are really good. I think we need to show the power that we do have, either by hitting back with tariffs as well or by holding back on the goods that are relied on by the United States. And I think that as much as possible, if we can connect with Americans and get their support, because that's going to be what really makes a difference.
I mean, some good points out there. Honestly, I did hear some of the conversations about some of the tariffs that they wanted to apply on other goods, but I can tell you it's going to be tough. On top of which, our Canadian dollar is also not as strong as the US, and it's also dropping down doesn't help at all. Honestly, I think the best thing that the government can do is also reduce the tax that they collect from people because, man, the tax rate in Canada is high. Now, if we're already paying high tax rates and then now we have to deal with the tariff, you're going to be eating a lot of Canadians' pockets out with that. Open up trade via inter-provincial borders and seek other overseas trade partners. We need to expand our market. We need to start exporting our goods abroad. And here we are locking ourselves to one. We do it for the sake of solidarity, but it's killing us. As an American, I believe half of our population is with you. He's an idiot. In my previous video where I had done about Canadians boycotting American products, a lot of Americans were in solidarity with Canada, including other people from across the world. I saw from Netherlands, Australia, all over. So it's good to see that they're with us. And on top of that, they were also boycotting American products. Actually, let me even bring it up just for the sake of it. As you can see, Mexico is boycotting everything as well. I'm American, I support Canada 110%, screw Trump, cancel my vacation to LA. And if you haven't watched my video, make sure you go and check it out. You'll see a lot of people showing their solidarity with us. Not just Canada, I'm in the UK and I'm boycotting America. But as you can see, shelves are starting to be piled with Canadian products at the top and American brands at the bottom. And you can start seeing what is made in Canada by the stickers that you see right on the side here. Anything you see with this type of sticker just lets you know that it's made in Canada. So this is how a lot of grocery stores and companies are doing to ensure that we stay in solidarity. It's crazy. It's all over the shelves, all over the liquor stores. You name it, it's already been done. I don't know how long Trump plans to have this tariff going on for, but hopefully things change. Like, I don't know. I'm hoping this can last for maybe like a month and we can be done with this fiasco. Because it's just going to keep shrinking the Canadian economy. Our growth is being impacted by the tariffs that Trump is applying.
Okay, so this lady, a Canadian, went where? Went shopping, right?
Shopping in the United States.
In the United States.
The day the tariffs hit.
The day the tariffs hit. Who knows why? What was her bill? What was her bill?
So she paid $215 American dollars.
For groceries. For groceries.
In America, okay? And then she went back across the border back to Canada and paid supposedly $230 Canadian on top of that. Now you're probably thinking, wait, that doesn't make sense because how could that be 25% of how much American she paid?
Right. So
and then she says, yes, 25% tax, and then the tax on top also converted what I spent back into Canadian and then taxed me on that amount again. So it's double taxed. Converted the 215 American to Canadian, then charged me a duty, a 25% tariff,
Tariffs, yeah.
and then a tax on the tariff.
That's tax on tax.
Tax on the tariff as a surcharge. One grocery trip that was $215 American.
$500.
Yeah, it turned into like about $600.
What a trade war looks like. It's like a circular firing squad, right? The United States fires, they fire back, already targeting U.S. farm products, right? Canada already firing back. Mexico says it will fire back come Sunday as it really tries to plan what its retaliation will be. So there you go. The war is on. You've got Progressive, the auto insurance company, saying, look, this is going to make cars more expensive. That means insuring those cars will be more expensive. That means people will likely have to pay more to insure the cars they have in their new cars. Really ground zero for a trade war in North America is the American auto industry. I mean, everyone trying to figure out how much pain will be rippling through the American auto industry because these American car companies and foreign car makers, too, they buy and sell parts across borders to themselves multiple times. Rules, by the way, that were written by the first Trump administration that now the second Trump administration is saying, we don't like those rules. We're going to have tariffs instead.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
The same rules he applies now is coming to bite his ass, and now he's complaining about it. What is this? He actually mentioned a good point. Cars have started to become expensive all of a sudden.
Could be ground zero for the impact on the tariffs. Maria, this Dodge Ram truck, $80,000, instantly became $100,000.
That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
You didn't even have time to prepare for it. So if you didn't even buy a Dodge truck by now, you're probably out of luck. You'll probably have to wait until these tariffs are out. People are coming up with a theory that maybe Trump is actually trying to tank the market on purpose as a form of transferring wealth. We don't know what it is, but it doesn't make any sense if the plan was to make America great. So I don't know how this helps. In fact, this hurts the people of America.
And our retaliation is going to be surgically targeted to create the maximum pressure on the White House to stop what the Wall Street Journal has described quite rightly as the dumbest trade war in history. An example of a measure that I will put in place as Prime Minister is 100% tariffs on Teslas. I think that should get some attention in the White House. And, you know, Jen, I think people, Americans, you know, I don't think you think about Canada all that much. But I think when you do think about Canada, you might think, oh, they're smaller than us. Is this really something I should be worried about? Well, the stock market is worried. Shares have gone down, and this has been a terrible year for U.S. stocks already because of these tariff threats.
You know, she doesn't even need to put 100% tariff on Teslas because already, as you could see, the entire market across the world has been selling Tesla shares. They don't want it.
Rough start of the year for Tesla shareholders. The stock is down roughly 25% year to date, and it's only the end of February. The selling has been so intense that the company's stock has been kicked out of the rarefied club of companies with $1 trillion or more in stock market value.
They don't even want the car. Checked out the news. You've seen sales have been plummeting all over Europe. I'm sure even in Canada. No one wants to have Tesla. Only the few hardcore Elon Musk ass kissers really want that car. Sorry, but Americans are tired of the imbalance of trade. Canada benefited for years. You mean the trade agreement Trump signed off on? That trade agreement? Isn't he a business genius? Oh my, they're pulling out the liquor? Oh, that ain't good. For the good of Ontario, for the good of Canada. In response to U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods, products produced in the U.S. are no longer available until further notice. Looking for an alternative? Ask our team about our extensive range of Ontario and Canada-made products. Just get them from abroad, man. Looking for an alternative? Come on, guys. This is not a genius level thinking. Just open up the market. Let's buy products from abroad. Let's stop playing games like we don't know what the answer is.
But she was saying that's not actually true.
Is it whiskeys? Jack Daniels off the racks. Oh my God. I don't understand how it hurts the US when it's already bought and paid for. Because it's bought on consignment, agreements to pay a supply of goods after the goods are sold. Yes, exactly. So the same thing also happens with grocery stores as well. It's not like it's bought and then brought here and then we're at a loss. No, it's based on how many units are sold after the goods have been brought in and then the payments are done after.
How do we fight the tariff war? Here we go. There's no winning a tariff war for Canada. In fact, you're going to get your ass kicked. But I'll give you some strategies in case somehow someone from the government, Pierre Poilievre, Mark Carney, is listening to this. I'm going to give you the plan. But most likely they won't enact it because I don't believe that they're in it for the people. I don't believe that any politician is who's paid. I believe they should be unpaid positions. But here you go. Lower the corporate tax rate to 10%. Makes us the most competitive in the world outside of Dubai, which is 9%, but it's hella close. And the trust levels and so especially social trust, because everyone's very accepting in Canada, are way higher. They'll boost everything up. So 10% corporate tax rate. Next, move capital gains to 10%. Make this a good place for people to come, invest, and then pull their money out of. That will flood money back into the economy. Huge investments in data centers, robotics, manufacturing, and AI. The future of the world. Then we have to unleash our licensing. We gotta drill lots of oil. We have to go open mining licenses everywhere. We have to forge relationships around the world in short order. I'm a big free trade person myself, so open up as many free trade agreements as we can and compete. We invest in peer infrastructure and technology. Now, Canada, here's your advantage. You have very smart people, but you have very risk-adverse people. That's a problem, right? You got to have courage and intelligence. They have to meet to have something like America. So
the worst thing about all this Trump-Canada stuff is that for some of y'all, this is your first time consciously realizing that we're not them, that we're not the same as them, right? Like, I think we like to pretend because we're so integrated, we speak the same language, have similar accents, you know, similar worldviews, we're on the same piece of earth. You know, like, he sent a message very clear on Saturday that, like, we're not the same as them, you know, nor should we aspire to be like them. You know, like, I think, like, even in the media and our politics, we're always like, well, compared to America, why the F are we comparing ourselves to America? You know, like, if you're the smartest kid in the class, you don't compare yourself to the dyslexic bully who's struggling to read. I remember my dad, when I was younger, he'd always be like, oh, well, you gotta support Canadian, you gotta support Canadian artists, you gotta buy Canadian, you know, when you see that Made in Canada sticker, like, that means something, that's important. And I remember being like, okay, Dad, you know, like, you can just, like, humor an old man. You're like, okay, buddy, like, you want a Scotch mint?
What? I would have to agree with her point. I don't know about the last nonsense she mentioned, but I mean, Trump is trying to put a clear divide, trying to let you all know that Canada is not the same as US. And I can see why he's trying to do that, so we can all fight against each other. And you know what? At some point, yes, we are different. But at the same time, if you're allies, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you have an agreement and you've agreed, like, yes, we're going to be doing business together, it doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you keep true to your word, that's all that matters. Let's do business. But it looks like, you know, you make an agreement and all of a sudden someone's stabbing you in the back. What do you do with that? Now, do you trust them after this?
If you are a Canadian that sits online every day defending President Donald Trump, I am absolutely convinced that at some point in time, you have exchanged your brains for mashed potatoes. Because in other news, Canada is getting hit with tariffs tomorrow, which we knew they were coming because this man has been threatening us with tariffs since he got into office. And while that is happening, he is apparently exploring ways to give Russia some sanction relief. And before you start pacing in your living room and doing an Olympic sprint to my comment section, I need you to just hear me out for a second. Some Canadians have spent far too much time defending the actions of this man, especially in regards to the way that he treats our country like the enemy. And don't give me any of this nonsense of like, oh, he's doing what's best for his country. We have a terrible government. I can't stand Justin Trudeau. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But genuinely, if you are a Canadian who plans to remain a Canadian and not move to the United States, what benefit is it to you to sit online and defend what this person is doing to our country and to our economy? First and foremost, that Canada has been a long-standing ally to the United States, especially in times when they've needed us the most. We have had trade deals that have benefited both of our economies. We have fought together. We have stood together. We have been one of the United States' strongest allies, especially in times of need. But it should mean that you operate with Canada in a relationship that's in good faith, because that is what allies are supposed to do. Taking it easier on Russia while you impose even harsher penalties on Canada is insane.
Just a question here. I know that America is trying to, relieve sanctions off of Russia, and, they're trying to create a divide between us, Canada, and other countries that we do business with. Would it be crazy that Trump, for some given reason, decides that he wants to import cheap Russian oil into the United States? Just curious, because if we're putting sanctions to Canada and we provide them with oil, and now we're going to be hit with these tariffs, If America now turns to Russia and says, okay, fine, sanctions are going to be lifted, let's do business. What do you think would happen? Like, I don't know. I'm just putting this as a prediction. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Leave your comments. I'd love to hear what everyone's thoughts are about this. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.